Hello there, and welcome once again to The Verdict. I'm Mick Cornett along with Kent Myers. We're here every week meeting interesting people and dealing with topical issues, and boy, do we have a topical issue today to discuss.
We do. We very subtly named this show Smoking Kills. And we're going to have two folks from the Stevenson Cancer Center come talk to us about the effects of smoking, how cessation programs work, and what's going on in Oklahoma. I think you'll find it fascinating.
It is a growing industry, and to try and determine how Oklahomans are going to deal with their continuing health statistics. It's all coming up today on The Verdict. We'll see you right after this break.
I'm Abby Cleaver. I show American Quarter Horses, and I am Chickasaw.
My name is Addison Cleaver. I show American Quarter Horses, and I am Chickasaw. Living up to Abby is very difficult because she is a natural at showing horses. Her very first class, she won it, which is unheard of.
So this past August, Addison competed at the AQHYA Youth World Show. She was top 10 in 3 classes, which is awesome. I'm so proud of her. I think it is such a privilege to have my Chickasaw heritage.
I think that was passed down to us to always work hard for what you want and always work hard in everything you do. Being an athlete and an equestrian, we understand that, and it's inspiring to know that we come from a group of people that believed in that too. We're very proud of who we are and proud of what we do.
See more stories about the Chickasaw people at profilesofanation.com.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Kent's going to introduce today's guest.
Today we're really pleased to welcome to the set of The Verdict two doctors. To my right is Dr. Jenny Vidrine. She's the Associate Director for Cancer Prevention at the Stevenson Cancer Center. She did her undergraduate work at the University of Florida. She worked her way down in the state of Florida. She did her master's at the University of Central Florida, did her PhD at the University of South Florida. She spent 12 years at the MD Anderson Cancer Clinic in Houston, and joined Stevenson Cancer Center in 2015. She's done extensive both postgraduate work and writing in this area. Doctor, glad to have you.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
To my left is Dr. Darla Kendzor. She is the leader of the Tobacco Research Project here at the Stevenson Cancer Center. She did her undergraduate work at the University of Illinois, did her PhD work at Louisiana State University. Did once again, as did Dr. Vidrine, postgraduate training and writing in this area. She came to the Stevenson Cancer Center in 2015. Doctor, glad to have you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Dr. Vidrine, you gave us permission to use your first names for the remainder of the show. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Jenny, tell us what you do at the Stevenson.
But she did.
Yeah. We'll have to get a waiver, I guess, from Darla. Jenny, what do you do at the Cancer Center?
So I, like was mentioned, I serve as the Associate Director for Cancer Prevention and Control within the Cancer Center, and I also direct the Oklahoma Tobacco Research Center, and I'm an Associate Professor in the Department of Family and Preventive Medicine at OU.
Okay, so I guess my impression would be that the Stevenson Cancer Center would serve people who have cancer. But it sounds like you're on the side of preventing people from having cancer to begin with.
Absolutely. So we, as you may know, we are in the process of applying for designation status from the National Cancer Institute, and a key part of that application is having a strong focus on cancer prevention and control. And that is critically important in Oklahoma. We have the 5th highest smoking prevalence in the country. We're 7th for cancer mortality overall. Our smoking prevalence is 30% higher than the U.S. as a whole. So it's a really, really important problem here.
It is something we need to raise our standards on. Darla, what do you do at the Cancer Center?
I'm also a faculty associate professor in the Department of Family and Preventive Medicine, and I lead the Tobacco Treatment Research Program, which offers free treatment to the community, people on campus and from the community. So.
Is the greatest opportunity for keeping people from starting, or is it to get people who are smoking to stop smoking? Where do you concentrate your efforts?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's more important, but my efforts are particularly focused on helping people quit smoking since we have such a high smoking rate in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So.
Why do we? Why do we have such a high smoking rate as compared to other states?
Well, as you know, we're a poor state, and smoking is much more heavily concentrated among individuals with lower socioeconomic status. So lower education, lower income goes along with smoking. These individuals have more stress in their lives. They start smoking earlier, they get hooked, and they have a harder time quitting because of that stress. So a key focus of what we're doing as a center and what Darla is doing is trying to develop better interventions to help people quit that are more effective.
Are there predictive factors? Can you look at a person who might be in a teenage year and say, this person has this factor, and this factor, they have a higher chance of starting to smoke than another person, other than income?
So we understand things that kind of at a gross level. Certainly parental smoking is strongly predictive of whether or not youth take smoking up. We also know that kids tend to experiment and they think they won't get hooked, and they do. So then they become lifelong smokers. So Dr. Francesco Versace, who is a faculty member with our group, has a grant from the National Institute on Drug Abuse to look at mechanisms underlying looking at predictive factors for which youth are likely to become dependent. So he uses EEG and fMRI technology to really be able to address that. And then the goal of this research is to hopefully identify those youth that are likely to become dependent and likely to need
if
special
parents
intervention.
smoke, there's a greater likelihood
Yes.
that the kids will smoke. Because I have people, anecdotally, I assure you, I don't have the research, but they will tell me, I watched my parents smoke and I made a pledge I was never going to do that.
Yeah.
But you're saying that's not the norm. I mean,
Right.
the indicators are that if parents smoke, one or both, then there's a higher likelihood that the child will start smoking.
Absolutely. And there certainly are those anecdotal examples, and those are important. And, as scientists, we're good at kind of predicting what happens on the average, but it's really hard to predict what's going to happen for one individual person. But that's always nice to hear those stories when people are inspired to not take up smoking, even though they come from an environment where their parents smoked.
I see some ads on television from time to time dealing with secondhand smoke. Do any of your programs that you deal with, either one of you deal with folks that have been subjected to secondhand smoke?
I can't think of any, but I think whenever we're helping people to quit smoking, we're taking the secondhand smoke out of, the families and out of the environments of those people. Jenny, do you have any? I'm trying to think.
No, I think that's a great point. So we don't have any faculty members or projects that are specifically focused on that area right now, but it is a really important area, especially with kids being exposed. So we are in the fortunate position of being able to grow. We are supported by a grant from the Tobacco Settlement Endowment Trust, which has just been a phenomenal resource and partner for us. TSET, yes. So we are looking to recruit 3 new faculty members starting July 1st, 2018. So ideally, we'd love to have somebody focused on smoking prevention and reduction of secondhand smoke exposure.
What is the Oklahoma Tobacco Research Center?
So we are a center that's housed within the Stevenson Cancer Center, funded by TSET. We have a separate grant that supports us from TSET. And our mission is to address the burden of tobacco in Oklahoma through conducting research that addresses both policies and interventions. And we have a particular emphasis on addressing tobacco-related health disparities. So currently we have 7 full-time faculty that are dedicated fully to addressing tobacco. And our goal is to we're academics, so our goal is to get extramural funding from organizations like the National Institutes of Health or National Cancer Center, American Cancer Society, sometimes CDC, sometimes foundation funding. So we all have current extramural funding other than the TSET support right now. But our goal is to really address the entire translational research continuum as it applies to tobacco. So I think preventing smoking is just as important as helping people quit, but they're both critically important things.
I'm not sure who to address this question to, so whoever the likely respondent is, just jump in. But a few years ago, e-cigarettes were said to be less harmful than regular cigarettes. Do we have research now to prove that's true or not true, or do you all have a stance on that?
So Dr. Ted Wagner is a faculty member with our group, and he has a large 5-year R01 grant from the National Cancer Institute to really address that problem. So I think certainly e-cigarettes have great potential as a harm reduction device. When you look at them just on their own, certainly they're less harmful than combustible cigarettes. What tends to be the most harmful thing about smoking is you light something on fire, you inhale it into your lungs, and that creates chemical reactions, and that's very problematic. So you don't have that problem with e-cigarettes. I think what we don't know is how do people use these products long term? So can people successfully quit the use of combustible cigarettes and successfully transition to e-cigarettes? Or do they use both? An interesting phenomenon that we're seeing is in high school students. So rates of combustible cigarette use are down, but overall tobacco use is not down, and that's largely due to e-cigarettes. So I think there's great potential there. We just don't know enough. So I think the type of work that Ted is doing is going to be really critical in helping us answer that type of question.
I suppose the nicotine addiction is a big part of the problem. What can we do, or are we doing, to try to deal with nicotine addiction that comes from, I guess, either regular cigarettes or e-cigarettes?
Well, we here on campus at the Stevenson Cancer Center and the OU Health Science Center, we have the Tobacco Treatment Research Program. So we offer free counseling and nicotine replacement therapy for people who are interested in quitting any type of tobacco. So it's all free of charge. We have tobacco treatment specialists, and they will offer counseling, helping people to figure out. We always say that it's not really willpower; it's kind of planning your environment so that you make smoking less likely. So we try to help people develop some coping skills and change their environment so smoking is less tempting. And then we also offer them nicotine replacement therapy, usually in the form of a nicotine patch and nicotine gum, to help them get through some of the craving and withdrawal. So that's kind of what we're doing. And then of course there's the Oklahoma helpline, which we can connect people to if they're interested in through our program, or people can call and do that.
Dr. Darla Kendzor and Dr. Jenny Vidrine are with the Stevenson Cancer Center. We'll have more with them on the issue of smoking in Oklahoma right after this.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. We are talking smoking and cessation policies and all sorts of research that are the result of the work of Dr. Jenny Vidrine and Dr. Darla Kendzor. Dr. Kendzor, what do you see in the next few years in this area? Is there a chance for a breakthrough in addiction? Is there a chance for a breakthrough in some sort of ability to keep people from starting to smoke?
Well, I hope so. I think we all feel like maybe we're working in that direction.
We're going to put you guys out of business. You won't have anybody to deal with.
There are plenty of other behaviors for us to move on to, so that's okay. I don't mind. I think there are a lot of different directions. So Jenny mentioned the e-cigarettes. Whether people are moving away from smoking and more towards e-cigarettes. I think from my perspective, we're trying to figure out how to reduce barriers to smoking cessation to help get people the treatment that they need without requiring them to come in and see us every week. So we're doing different things like I have an NIH-funded supplement to one of the grants where we're offering financial incentives, small financial incentives for quitting.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about incentives and if they work. Tell me more about that.
Well, I did some, before I was here, when I was in Dallas, we did some work with the Safety Net Hospital there, and we just added small financial incentives in the form of gift cards, so $20 to start, and that increased by $5 each week if people could come in and show us that they had quit. So we measured the carbon monoxide in their lungs to show us for
So
sure.
there is a test.
Yes.
You can figure out.
Yes, you can. So, and if they were able to show us that they had quit, then they could earn this extra money when they quit. So, and then they also got the counseling and nicotine replacement therapy. But we were just doing that. We were able to double the quit rates that they had in their clinic. So that was pretty amazing. The problem is that people have to come in every week and kind of prove that they've quit. So we're developing now here in Oklahoma a system where we can verify that people have quit through a portable device that plugs into their phone. And so we can just capture their image and then determine whether they are who they say they are. And then if they have in fact quit, we can just credit an account so they can get the gift card remotely.
Wow, and that must help in rural parts of the state.
I mean, that's the idea. And then we can do all of the counseling by phone, and we can, if they want it, and we can mail nicotine replacement therapy. So we can make it a lot easier. And by the same token, actually, my husband and also a colleague at the OTRC, Michael Busanel, he has developed a smartphone app to detect when people are at risk of relapse, and it will intervene with tailored messaging. So I think some of it is kind of getting to people, through technology, and not requiring them to come in and it being such a burden in terms of scheduling and all of that.
I had no idea technology was playing such a factor in your work.
Yes, so we have the mHealth shared resource that will be part of the Cancer Center grant. And they do ecological momentary assessment, which is just measuring things related to smoking and other health behaviors in the natural environment, so just throughout the day. So, in the past, people would have to come in and fill out questionnaires if we had to figure out what was going on with them, but now we can just kind of, have them answer questions out in the real world and use that information to actually intervene in the moment. So,
Jenny, you mentioned TSET during the first segment, but you have other partners in your work, do you not?
We do.
Tell us about who they are.
So we are doing work with the Oklahoma Regional Food Bank, and specifically right now the Urban Mission Food Pantry. We're partnering with Darla and Michael's work with the Homeless Alliance. We're starting a partnership with the Health Alliance for the Uninsured. The Oklahoma State Quit Line or Helpline is also funded by TSET, but that's an important partner for us. Also Oklahoma State University, Department of Psychology, and OU Health Sciences Center, Tulsa campus.
Are you looking to expand that group of partners, or?
Absolutely.
Now, if somebody out there watching today was interested in their organization or company participating in the partnership arrangement that you have with TSET and others, how would they do that? Just by contacting you?
Yes, they would.
Well, we'll give a website in the fourth segment here that gives how to contact you.
Yes, that sounds great.
What sort of studies can people sign up for? Are there active opportunities for people to want to be a part of one of these research projects?
So our tobacco cessation clinic, the tobacco treatment research program, we follow all of the people who enroll just in the regular treatment. We follow them and measure things to try to figure out what increases the likelihood or decreases the likelihood of people quitting. So no matter what, that would be, people would participate in that. But I do have an ongoing financial incentives trial, so people can call the clinic and have the opportunity, if they want, to enroll in that study. And they'll just, just like I mentioned, they'll have the opportunity to earn gift cards each week if they've quit smoking. And there's also another study that is evaluating that smartphone app for smoking cessation. So if people are interested and eligible, they can participate in that study, and they'll get a phone and they'll get the app on the phone, and they'll get nicotine replacement therapy and counseling, and they can receive the messages through the app.
Now,
So
is there a charge for that?
there's no charge. Everything is free. These are research studies, so we actually pay people to be in them and to participate. We pay people for their time since we're...
Now, did I hear you correctly that you also provide the phone?
Yes, yes.
Well, that might be a pretty important incentive, might it
Right.
not, to...
For most of our studies, we're providing free smartphones and free service during the course of the study. So Dr. Damon Vidrine and I are leading a couple of studies, one with the Regional Food Bank and one with the OUHSC Infectious Diseases Institute, where he's enrolling HIV positive smokers in that. And in both of these studies, they are provided with smartphones at the beginning of the study. We pay for service, free service for 3 months, and then they get to keep the phone. They're on the hook for service after that. But like Darla mentioned, they're also compensated for assessments.
Are there
So-
parts of Oklahoma that seem to have higher rates of smoking? Is it rural? Is it urban? Is it east, north, south, or west? Are there any things that we can predictive?
American Indians have a very high rate of smoking. It's around 34%. So tribal areas are higher. Some of the rural areas, we have more people concentrated in the Oklahoma City and Tulsa
Right.
areas.
But the Indian Health Center is one of your partners, are they
Yes,
not?
we are not specifically, OTRC is not specifically working with them. We hope to, and
Yeah.
we've started partnership with the Choctaw Nation, but Dr. Mark Dosher and Paul Spicer have very strong relationships with various tribes.
Men versus women, boys versus girls, there a higher relationship
It's
there?
pretty equivalent. There's a lot of evidence that women have a harder time quitting smoking, although you found something a little different in your pilots.
Yeah, we actually found that the women who received the financial incentives did the best, whereas if they did not receive the financial incentives, they did the worst in terms of cessation, which women do tend to do worse in the cessation trials, but for some reason financial incentives seem to work better for them. So
Talk to us a little bit, if you can, either one or both, about smokeless tobacco and what effect that can have, and what are you doing about it, if
Yeah.
anything?
It's a very significant problem. The prevalence is a lot lower than smoking. It's associated with more head and neck cancers, but it generally doesn't have the same health consequences as combustible cigarettes, but it's still a very significant health problem, and people are strongly addicted.
In Oklahoma, do we have a corresponding high rate of addiction to smokeless tobacco like we do for regular cigarettes?
I believe we do. The number, I'm thinking it's around 11%, but don't quote me on that. I'd have to. So we don't tend to do work specifically in that area.
We
but-
won't quote you on that.
Okay.
it's off the record.
As we get closer to the end of the show, I'd love for you guys to inspire our audience to do something. What would you like people in Oklahoma to know, or what would you like them to actively do?
I think quitting smoking and quitting tobacco is probably the most important thing that you can do for your health. So I would love if you would call us at the Tobacco Treatment Research Program. And can I give a phone number?
Oh, sure. I'll write it down and make sure I give it in the fourth segment too. But what is it?
It's 405-271-QUIT. So give us a call and we will help you.
And this is particularly relevant when we're looking at this new fee on cigarettes that's about to go into effect. Like we mentioned, the prevalence of smoking is more concentrated among people with lower income. So we want to let people know that we're here to help them quit, and also the Oklahoma helpline is an incredible resource, and individuals can call that for help.
We're going to have to make that the final word. Thank you both for coming on the
Thank
show.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I know it went
Pleasure to be here.
quickly, but perhaps at a future show we can get back into this more deeply. Jenny Vidrine and Darla Kendzor are each doctors working at the Stevenson Cancer Center doing some great work. Kent and I'll have a final word after this.
There are now 11 million of us who live here and work here. I was 15 when I came here 6 years ago. I raised my family here. I drive my truck to my job every day. The only difference between now and 6 years ago, I do it legally. I wanted to. Because this is my home.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
You will always be Mom and Dad to me.
We are a very conservative family, and we believe in old-fashioned family values. We have a loving home there, and we love kids, and we have 5, 6 of our own. And but I had no idea we were going to go into adoption, but it's been very gratifying.
You will always be Mom and Dad to me.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
We're back on The Verdict. This show has been about cancers, but more specifically about smoking and cessation projects on the research side.
Yes, it's, we're lucky in Oklahoma to have folks like these two doctors you heard from today working every day, long hours to try to bring a better smoking result or non-smoking result to our citizens.
Mm-hmm. And there's a phone number if you or someone in your family is interested about some of the programs that can help them quit smoking, 405 and then 271-QUIT, 271-QUIT. And we have website information, StevensonCancerCenter.com. Some incredible research going on there at the benefit from the Stevenson cancer, or the Stevenson family. We have a website too, theverdict.tv. You can log on and tell us about a guest that you'd like to see on a future edition, or maybe a subject matter that you'd like to see us discuss. But for now, that's going to do it. We want to thank the Stevenson Cancer Center for all their great work and for specifically providing our guest today that hopefully gave some great advice on how all of us can be involved in the smoking cessation problems that Oklahoma is facing. That's going to do it for now. For Kent, I'm Mick. We'll see you next week with another show on The Verdict.